I'm on VMware's Palo Alto campus right now with CEO Raghu Raghuram to talk about two hot topics on customers' minds today: generative AI and multi-cloud. Raghu, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for being here on our wonderful campus.
So you've been working for years on building out these multi-cloud offerings. What are customers saying in terms of where you are on this multi-cloud journey?
Yeah, so customers are, for the longest time, we've been advocating to customers that they should adopt a cloud smart approach. What that means is figure out what your business need is, what application do you want to build, and where should it best go. And especially over the last 3 years, as customers have gotten more and more familiarity with the cloud, we see them all adopting the same approach. And as a result, the importance of a solution provider like VMware that allows them to put the right application on the right cloud and manage it effectively and save them money, allowing them to play offense and defense at the same time, that's become very relevant to them these days.
Well, speaking about playing offense and defense, now you have generative AI, which has burst onto the scene super fast. It seems to be changing the game really quickly. How are they dealing with this?
Yeah, it's a whole new thing for them, right? And almost everybody, all the CEOs and CIOs that I talk to, this is top of mind topic. They're all saying, let's go figure out what this means to us. They all read the same things that everybody else is reading. So there's a huge flurry of activity, but I don't think anybody's yet figured it out. The one thing that's very clear for all of them is it's a hugely complex topic with a lot of innovation happening every day. And secondly, they don't have the talent they need to have, right? And thirdly, from a cost and privacy and performance point of view, there's so many questions that they need to get answers to. So we are in the very, very early stages of a new industry getting created to help these customers. There is no doubt that the end outcome is going to be super relevant and super transformative for them.
Well, so here's one of those questions, which is how do you put multi-cloud and generative AI together?
In many ways, I would say generative AI is probably the killer application for a multi-cloud, because you've heard anybody in the industry when they talk about AI, they say data plus compute equals AI, right? And if you say now, where is the customer's data? It's everywhere, right? It's in their on-premise data centers. It's in the edge of their networks where they have their autonomous cars or automated manufacturing plants. It is in the clouds that they use. So wherever data is, they got to go put compute. They got to create AI. And that is, by definition, multi-cloud, right? And so that's why we think there is a huge relevance of these two topics going together.
Now, you've been in this industry a long time. You've been at VMware for a couple of decades.
Yes.
You worked at Netscape back in the day. What's your take on this latest hype cycle? How much of this is hype? How much of this is reality? What's different this time?
Yeah, I mean, as you've heard the saying in Techland, right, that all these transformative technologies are overhyped in the short term and underhyped in the long term. I think that is relevant here, right? And there is no doubt if you sort of draw out the technology arc and then think about the implications, there is a tremendous transformative potential for the positive, right? Especially if you think about Western economies, right? What is the number one impediment to GDP growth? It is the lack of enough productive people. We are a graying society, right? And you have something like generative AI that comes along, and the promise is 20-30% improvement in the productivity of the people workforce that we have today. That's a huge force multiplier. And that brings about possibilities for all of these economies that we've never contemplated before. So that's why I think this is underhyped in the long run. And it's overhyped in the short run because of the huge amount of capital flowing into this, right? And there are brand new claims every day. And people have to sort out which one of these matter, which companies matter, how do we make that relevant to, if I'm running a trucking business or if I'm running an airline business or a car manufacturing business, how do I make it relevant to my business? So that's where we are.
So is this the start of a new kind of bubble?
I would say it's a start of a new wave of business and business applications. I always say, if you think about the big waves of application transformation, right, after the mainframe, the first was the PC era, right, where for the first time, computing became truly personal, right? The second notable one was the web era, which we talked about with Netscape and so on, where there was ubiquitous access to any application. And the third, of course, was the mobile era, right? And now I would say AI applications is the fourth era of applications. So with any sort of such giant wave, which has global applicability, there is going to be what you characterize as bubble. There's going to be what we all will see as real and fundamental as time goes on. So you'll see both.
How dramatically do you think generative AI will change your market, will change the enterprise market?
Yeah, I think the lasting change, there's obviously, as consumers, we're all super excited about what we could do when ChatGPT hit our consciousness, right? And we still do that today. But I think the transformative effects will be in the enterprise. I think there was a McKinsey study recently predicting $7.3 trillion of economic value created. And think about all of the functions that we do in any enterprise. In the technology function, software development, operating technology, huge transformative possibilities there with code development and code generation. Customer service, right? Automated agents, sales, even finance, every function you can think about, marketing, for example, transformative possibilities there. And so I would think generative AI is going to apply to every one of these functions, much like the previous waves of application development did.
What does it mean for jobs? How many new jobs are created? How many jobs are lost? Especially when, we're talking about companies that make software that help people do their job or might end up putting them out of their jobs.
Yeah, the way I would think about it is, again, none of us know what the future is. But if you look at the past 4 lessons, there were jobs that used to exist that no longer existed, but the jobs that nobody imagined, right, that are mainstream, right? Think of it before the advent of Excel. Yes, were there a class of accounting jobs that vanished? Probably. But now nobody would argue that there's 10x more need for people that know Excel than ever before. Even in the modern day social era, right? All of this, with the advent of YouTube and all these things, the era of influencers and in your own business, a whole new class of journalism and so on that came about that just did not exist before. Did conventional forms of journalism, certain forms did not exist? Absolutely. Went away? Absolutely. So that is what I think we will see. We will see a transformation and a shift. But if you net it out, my belief is we'll end up coming out ahead in terms of job creation.
That's exactly what Sam Altman said to me, that my job as a journalist didn't exist a long time ago, and his job as a CEO didn't exist either. So it's our kinds of jobs.
Yes, exactly.
That will be created.
Yeah.
What are the main barriers to adoption and the challenges to bring AI into the enterprise, aside from all of these unknowns?
Yep. No, that's a great question. So when we talk to CEOs and CIOs, I could net their concerns into 3 things. The first one, which is the obvious one we just touched upon, is talent, right? The second one is the performance and the cost equation, right? They've all been told that, hey, it takes 20,000 GPUs that cost millions of dollars to get anything done. It turns out that is not true with the advent of a lot of innovation that's happening in the industry we can talk about. But the third one is privacy, right? How can I ensure that my data is not used to train a model that will serve my competitor? Or if I'm using a model, how can I ensure that I don't get into some legal hot water because that model has been trained on somebody else, right? And what are the security implications, etc., right? And accuracy goes along with it. So when we talk to CIOs, they talk about 5 requirements or 5 categories of requirements. One is privacy, the first one, right? The second one is accuracy in many ways, right? Third is performance, fourth is cost, and the fifth is flexibility. Because they want to be able to do this AI and run these models in the factory floor, in the data center, in the clouds, next to their customer-facing applications everywhere. So these are the 5 that they care about. And I believe in the enterprise, whatever solution comes to the fore, whatever solutions come to the fore, will have various elements of these.
There definitely seems to be pressure to integrate this technology quickly. How do companies make sure that they are embracing this next wave of innovation, but in a responsible and ethical way?
Yeah, I mean, the only way companies can do it is learning by doing, right? So all companies that I talk to, and they're approaching it the same way, pretty much the same way that VMware approached it. Let's empower some small teams in each of these areas that we talked about. Go do some experiments safely and carefully. Let's take the learning and then use that to formulate the policies on how are we going to use AI, and then iterate around that. And that is the virtuous cycle that we're seeing with this.
Okay, Raghu, thank you so much. I want to bring in a different perspective now and bring in Chris Wolf, Vice President of VMware AI Labs, to take a deeper dive on VMware's AI approach. Chris, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity.
What's happening inside VMware AI Labs these days?
Well, quite a bit. So we're really focused on driving the strategy for the company, which entails organic innovations in a number of areas, as well as industry partnerships across the board as well, because VMware historically has always been about customer choice. And we really want to see that forward with AI as well. The space is moving so quickly that a lot of the work we want to do is ensuring customer data privacy as well as choice of solutions so that they don't have to just make the wrong mistake, right? Well, I guess every mistake is wrong, but you get what I mean.
AI has been around a long time, but obviously it seems that work on AI has accelerated very recently. How would you describe VMware's historical approach to AI and how that's changed in the last 12 months?
Yeah, sure. So we've always been looking at the areas of AI that really play to VMware's strengths. So we were looking at areas where customers might have data in different locales. So imagine like a factory. If I want to use factory with manufacturing equipment, I have to have the intelligence really close to where that equipment sits. I need to be able to tell a robot arm when to stop, things like this, right? There's safety at play in some of these areas. So we were looking at ways to distribute AI to these different locales and around the world, while also protecting customer data privacy at the same time. And these have been active areas of research for us for some time. We've also spent a lot of time looking at explainability. So when ChatGPT gives you an answer, how did it actually arrive at that answer? It's really important for folks to understand that as well. We've made a number of investments in academic partnerships as well on the research side. And this has all really been geared towards having a private AI platform.
Can you give some specific examples of how VMware's technologies or AI technologies are really helping customers like the factory, for example?
Yeah, sure. So, one example would be to allow automation of software development. So we have talked to global manufacturing companies, if we use the factory example, and what they're concerned about is they want to keep their source code inside their firewalls. It's really important for them because that is the lifeblood of their business. We see this in aspects of healthcare as well. So we're working with these companies to be able to bring the AI services adjacent to where they prefer the data to sit.
Who are your competitors in AI?
Well, we certainly have some competitors across the industry. There's startups in the space, of course. There's companies like Red Hat that would compete. There's companies like Microsoft. And in addition to Red Hat, while they compete with us, we also partner very closely with them.
How does that work when you're competitors, but also partners, frenemies, if you will?
It's really quite simple. A lot of us companies that have been in the enterprise for some time, we really want to make sure that we're solving the problems for our customers. And equally, in all sides, companies are committed to customer choice, and we want to solve the problems in the ways that customers desire those problems to be solved. So while we might compete, there's always that impetus to work together as well.
So given that it's a very competitive market and that every company is thinking about how to do this right now, why should customers choose you?
Really quite simple. When you look at where data resides today around the world, in most of those cases, that data is residing on some type of VMware platform. We are everywhere customers do business. We have the broadest ecosystem of software and services that can run on our platform in the industry. And our approach to AI is similar. We're committed to customer choice. We want customers to be able to accept the fact that the industry is moving so fast, you can't bet on one software solution today. You need to bet on a platform that gives you optionality to embrace a large number of software solutions.
Tell me a little bit more about who your partners are and how you're working together.
Sure. We're working with companies like NVIDIA, and we're bringing an end-to-end large language model platform to the enterprise, allowing customers to take advantage of these large language models while doing so in a way that's convenient for their business. So they might want to embrace the cloud in some areas. They might want to bring data on premises in some areas. They might want to tune and optimize these models based on the data that's unique to their business. So that would be the partnership with NVIDIA. We're working with another globally recognized software company called Hugging Face. And this Hugging Face in many ways is compared to like GitHub, as really the GitHub for AI. And in that case, we're helping to bring, again, these services on premises where the data resides. And as an example, we're using Hugging Face's services today for VMware software development in our own engineering organization.
And I know Hugging Face, one of their top priorities is diversity, which I was talking to Raghu about earlier. How are you implementing these, the importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion, at the lower levels of the organization?
Yeah, it's really important to us. If you're going to be an innovating organization, you have to have diverse perspectives. That's going to lead to the greatest breakthroughs. And it's also going to lead to ensuring that you're actually doing the right things. Sometimes you need to have pushback. You need diversity of thought. You need diversity of backgrounds. And the way we've done it is we've built a really robust pipeline of diverse talent. We built a culture where folks are seeing that diversity is recognized in the organization and people are getting promoted. And at the very top, just below me, we have 3 different innovation work streams, and 2 of the 3 are led by women today, very accomplished in the industry.
I'm curious about employees and how you see them using AI in their day-to-day work.
Yeah, so we're seeing a lot of different approaches here. So part of it, of course, is having some guardrails, which we publish through our internal AI council, to ensure that people are using AI effectively and not breaking any types of policy or regulatory issues along the way. So you have to have that foundation in place first. Then we're using AI to augment things like content generation in our marketing department, augmenting software development. We're also looking at customer support. And the importance of these use cases are pretty much every organization in the world has them. So being able to help your support professionals understand the breadth of the documentation and your knowledge-based articles and things like that, and get the answers more quickly for customers is not just a VMware problem, but it's an industry problem, and we can use our knowledge to help other businesses around the world.
How is it changing how you do your job? Or is it yet?
Yeah, no, it is. You get this assumption that you're supposed to have answers to every question and every startup related to AI. I think I'm in this job because I have a healthy respect for all that I don't know. And, at the same time, though, there's a member of our team that used generative AI to write a new profile for me. And it's actually part of my bio now. It's been created by generative AI. And that sounds somewhat strange, but it's really the world we live in, right? It's like, I can obsess over details of a professional bio, but if ChatGPT or other services, Llama 2 can give me these insights very quickly, then why not take advantage of it?
How about you, Raghu? Has it changed your job yet? Are you using ChatGPT to write your emails?
We'll need to play around.
But really, is this something that you see changing your day-to-day work?
Yes. I mean, what I tell, in fact, all of VMware is take every role in the company, right? A role like his, a role like mine, every role will have a personalized assistant over time. And whether that's actually done with an external model, internal model, that doesn't matter. But I believe there'll be a personal assistant for every role and every function in the company. And by the way, that extends to personal lives as well. Imagine having a tutor for everybody in this world. Those are the kind of possibilities that open up.
Well, speaking of that, how do you make sure that employees are also using this new technology ethically and responsibly?
Well, a key part of that is being open-minded to the process with employees and making it a collaboration. So when we rolled out this internal solution for software development, we were very proactive in asking employees, how is this working for you? What needs to change? And what we found is actually quite remarkable. So of all of the engineers we have running this platform today, 92% of them are saying, we want to continue using the tool. And if you know software engineers, you can never even get 60% to agree on something. Right, so 92% is really quite remarkable, and we're seeing that type of feedback and enthusiasm right now.
So what's next? What do you see next in the cycle, hype cycle or not, of AI?
Yeah, what's next is, I think some of this is a bit basic. It's a meaningful embrace of these technologies by enterprise organizations. It's bringing these technologies into the core business services and just building a foundation in which they can be successful. So what's next might not be the most thrilling thing, but it's really important from a business perspective in that I'm setting a foundation to allow me to go faster as a business. So there's that pragmatism that we're seeing in the industry today. That's where it starts to get exciting. And then you're going to start to see all of these types of special purpose AI models that are trained on business data, helping businesses around the world to be more successful.
So do you see a lot of different kinds of specialized assistants helping different people in different professions, doing different things around the world?
100%. And we see even in the healthcare vertical, you look at all of the companies that operate in that space, and they see their oncology data as something that's this untapped gold mine that can literally save lives. So they're looking at ways, how can I start to leverage this today? How can I apply a language model to give physicians better insights so they can more properly diagnose patients?
You're nodding, yeah. Play that out for me.
Well, think of it this way. Today, if you think about any business application, even a consumer application, but certainly any business application, it is inconceivable that it's running without some sort of a database inside of that application, right? We think of language models in a similar way. Every business application that you could think of will be powered in some way, shape, or form by a language model. And to your question, it'll be unique depending upon whether the use is for software development or marketing content or analysis of legal contracts, you name it, right? So that is what we see. Referring to something that Chris said, all of this has to be done on the basis of the data owned by the individual enterprise, right? So that's why we call this whole arena as private AI models or private AI computing, if you will. And if you ask me what is next for the industry, I would say private AI computing is what's next. And we at VMware want to create a platform for this sort of private AI computing.
So if you think about VMware 2 years out, or maybe 5 years out, how does the company look different?
I think we'll continue. It's always with companies, there is a evolution, right? So we will continue to bring customers forward on the multi-cloud journey, which will be more and more as computing. If you step back and say, what is going to be true 5 years from now? Are there going to be more computers or less? The answer is more. And where is all this computing power going to be? Is it just going to be in one location or one cloud? No. It is going to be literally everywhere. It's going to be literally even on our bodies, right? Yeah. And what is going to be running there? There'll be a combination of business applications and these AI models that will be running there. That is the world that we want to bring about for enterprises. So how do you build and distribute these applications and these AI models into this world of computing? How do you manage it? How do you secure it? How do you network it all together? How do you train people to use it? That really is what is in VMware's future.
When you said computers on our bodies, I thought robocalypse. I mean, is any of this robocalyptic to you?
Well, you don't be the job that I'm in without being an eternal optimist. So yes, for sure there'll be things that we wish did not happen because of the technology, but on balance, I think all of this will make our lives much, much better and richer.
And this will be my last question, then we'll leave it there. How do you think what VMware offers customers in 2 to 5 years will be different as a result of this roadmap and this technology?
Yeah, I think VMware's efforts will be centered around what I call the secure private AI platform. And that is what VMware will be known for with customers. And this platform will be present to them wherever they want it, in the cloud, in the data centers, in the edge of their networks, in the telecommunications networks, wherever you name it.
All right. Well, robocalyptic or optimistic, we will be watching Chris and Rob.
What would be the opposite word of
I don't know. I was thinking optimistic, but and I like your use of that term. I think you probably do have to be an optimist to survive in this industry.
Yes.
And thrive.
Yeah, and that is the inflection point right now, right? It's like people feel that for AI, the embrace is a series of trade-offs. And that's really how VMware is making the change here, is that you can embrace these AI technologies while still maintaining control and privacy of your data. You don't have to sacrifice your business principles in order to take advantage of AI. And that's why this new VMware approach is quite transformational.
All right. Well, here's to a brighter future.
Absolutely.
Than where we are today.
Exactly.
All right, Chris, Raghu, thank you so much.
Thanks so much.